Oh my god, we're back again! Everybody come tell a friend! Yes, it's racing season once again here at the SSRI YouTube channel. Season 8 of the Sprint Championship is about to kick off. This season is slightly different from what we're used to, as we only have one tier of drivers, but 3 classes within that tier, and well, 48 cars signed up for the championship. Let's see how many shows up today. The classes will be Pro, Semi-Pro and Am, I believe. It will all be lovely and wonderful and fine and all sorts of wonderful things once we get to the actual action. We start the season here at Watkins Glen. A wonderful track to drive, I must say. Great track for racing, great track for spectating as well, but we'll get more into that later. I'm Oliver Anderson, Mr. What of Oliver, and behind the cameras, as always, our Grandpa Chris Hill. But oh my god, do we have a season for you. There will be a guarantee of drama, intense fighting, overtakes, crashes, pit stops, of course, as we do have a mandatory pit stop in all the races. 2 different formats of races this season. Oh, and Chris even got that nicely up on the screen as I was talking about, as if we had this planned, which I totally blew the chance of having that sound as if we had by saying this, but never mind. Round 1 at Watkins Glen, obviously our traditional 60-minute format. Mandatory tire change in the pit stops. Fuel is optional. Some drivers will probably go for it. Most drivers will probably go for fuel as well when they take tires. The most common strategy is, of course, the stopping at the halfway point, taking fresh tires as you have to, and then some fuel as doesn't take you any more time to whether or not that you fuel or not in the pit, so that will likely be the strat tonight. Round 2 will be Suzuka, the first 75-minute race of the season. A great track once again for racing. We have a lot of good races this season, I must say. 75 minutes, which means mandatory fuel. Tires are optional in that race, but once again, the stopping halfway through, tires and fuel, very likely to be the main strategy there, though we could see some alterations. Some people might try and go deep into the race and only take fuel and save that pit stop time. We'll have to wait and see. Round 3, we head to Oulton Park. One of the 2 England rounds that comes up back-to-back. 60-minute race, once again. Oulton, very, very crazy track to drive. Very fun to practice at, I must say. One of my favorite tracks to just do practice at, because it seems to be different every time you get there. Well, mostly because I don't drive the same car that often, so that might be why it feels so different. But great track to drive around. Not that good for racing. Very tight, very narrow, very twisty. Overtakes there can be a little bit forceful from time to time. There are some overtaking opportunities, but we'll get more into that when we get to Oulton in round 3. Round 4 will stay in England. We'll go to the famous Silverstone circuit. Well, we are still lining up and starting the races at the old pit straight. I was say coming into cups and that between cups and whatever at the end of the track. Wood Cup, I think Chris said the background, and I'm not understanding what he's saying any better the more he says it. But 75 minute race at Silverstone. And then, of course, we finish the season at the Hungaroring. One of my favorite tracks as well for racing in the game. usually most people only knows it from Formula 1, where it's not that friendly to overtakes. It's not that much more friendly in GT3 cars, but good racing can be had there, and of course the mighty switchbacks through turns 1, 2, and 3 there. The two back straights on track, they are not that long or that straight to be perfect. Well, they are kind of straight, but they're not that long, but still good enough that you can make a legit overtaking attempts. That will be lovely when we get there, and a lot of things on the line for the drivers when we go there. We'll know exactly who's in the fight for the championship, and those drivers, they might be putting a little bit of extra effort into practice and getting that qualifying pace polished. But all these things will have to wait a few weeks to figure out. Watkins Glen this season, we do have a wonderful track guide somewhere laying in the back of our recording rooms as we have that running, coming down the pit straight. Again, fun to the exit of the final corner. We'll talk about that when we get there. But into turn 1 we go. A lot of runoff area, and that big curve both on the inside and especially on the outside of the track that can be taken very nicely. Not all the cars like the inside that much, but the outside is definitely usable. Full front here, we can see, or we will definitely see people going side by side on lap 1. It is very possible being flat out doing that. When you have the run on other cars here, you can use the track twisting a little bit to get a little bit of extra speed without going side by side until you reach this point where you'll try the overtake. Into the bus stop. Chicane is actually not called that, but we will always do it on this channel. The big curbs that you'll take, very hard on the curbs. Very easy to get the car spun when you turn in there. Only one line through. If you go side by side, it's very difficult to make it without losing a ton of time. Through the banked sort of hairpin-ish at the back of the track. It's just a long right-hander, as it's not that narrow. Into the boot, sort of say. The banked left turn that goes in there. One of my favorite corners in the entire game, as it always tricks you out and you can take so many different lines that are somewhat equally fast. Once again, bank corner, this time an uphill hairpin. We have seen over the years a lot of drivers, they lose their car on the exit of this turn, either by dipping 2 wheels into the grass or just running a little bit too low traction control, or just well, losing talent, basically too hard on the throttle. Into the heel of the boot we go. Good overtaking opportunity. Again, different lines can be taken through, which makes it very fun. Getting the option for the side-by-sides up into the left-hander. That always tricks me out about how tight it is and when to turn in for the corner. Which is why I would take different lines there with the walls closely on the right-hand side on the exit there. Drivers have to be careful about that. The penultimate corner, the left-hander of the runoff area where track cuts are very likely to happen this evening before the final corner. Few shifts down the gears, turn in as early on the throttle as you dare to go. If your car washes out, there's a barrier there that will damage your car. Down the start-finish line we go once again. And that was basically one lap at Watkins Glen. As we are getting closer and closer to qualifying as we're speaking, it will be interesting to see who actually get this pole position. A lot of good names, top names in the pro class this season. The semi-pros as well, we'll have to keep a good eye on who pops off there. It's usually not repeated names that comes up over the years that we have had. It will normally be different drivers who tops that from season to season. Last season we saw Bas van Melis winning the semi-pros, and that's why he have become a pro now. Which was quite funny, as he only won one race in that championship, and even if he wouldn't have won that race and finished second, that was the final round by the way, he would still have won and would have become the first champion of SSRI without a race win if that would have happened. But nevertheless, he managed to get that mighty win at Donington, which I will keep in the back of my head for a long time, because what a drive that was. And of course the amateurs that are just rolling the dice before we start the season, if you want to bet on that. As always, any questions, post them in the YouTube chat, as we are trying to get some rhyming in there. Yes, good details to get in early. But any questions or comments on the racing, put them in the YouTube chat, and I will try and answer them the best I can throughout this evening of racing. Questions about what's going on in the race, the championships, the drivers, the cars, I will try my best to answer whatever questions you might have. Even if they're a little bit off topic and not about racing. Even the greater pictures in the meaning of life, if asked, of course. Or well, if I get bored, then I might start talking about them anyway. Because of reasons, as we have live pictures from qualifying. Speaking of the recently promoted to Pro Bas Families, that's the driver that we are following around. Everyone are getting out on their first out lap. No one's on a flying lap as of yet. Also a good time of the season when we get to see the liveries for the first time. Bas is running the classic Mode 11 livery. It will have become a classic livery at this point. I would say they've been running this BMW livery for a long time now. I do like the white and red more than the alternate red and white that they also have, and I think a blue and white we have seen on the cars as well, and a special livery. Oh, that's the red and white on Nick Marker's car. The team made in the 1111, but we have seen a blue and white as well, and a white and was it white and green for the charity event we had in December, which was also very lovely to see. Oh, is that the FedEx car we see up there further up the road? Very nice, very nice. I hope he will drive that car faster than the delivery drivers. As the drivers are queuing up to start their first timed lap. Oh, and that was a Mode 11 Nissan in the background as well. But drivers are queuing up to get going for the first time this season in qualifying. And not everyone being equal gentlemen there in the background. We saw people were overtaking in the queue. Cohen Geens we're following here in the 711 DDS racing car. The FedEx livery machine. A Ferrari ahead of him that's on an out lap. It seems at least not a valid lap as it is green or bluish on our track map. I hope that he will just bail out of this, the Ferrari. Doesn't look like it. Not too kind there, but at least Cohen got a nice slipstream down the long back straight or front straight or first straight or the run from turn 1 up onto the bus stop at least. So let's see when they get around to finish the first lap. Did Cohen invalidate his lap there? No, I think it's still valid. I was just looking other place on the map. On the track map, by the way, the red dot are the car that we're following. Green dots are on invalid laps. And the white dots are valid, or well, the grey dots. If we see white dots flashing, that's slow-moving cars, and yellow cars are cars causing a yellow flag. Just for everyone out there watching, wondering about that. The free classes of and now a lot of confusion because of Chris. Yes, we have that. Let's just take it. Hello, everyone. S09, we will be participating again. Great community. We will be very happy to have you when we get to Season 9. That would be very lovely. Nevertheless, the three classes of drivers we have in this competition, right? The white backgrounds with the black numbers, that would be your pro drivers this season. The silver background with the white numbers, that's your semi-pros. And the red background with the black numbers, that's the AMs. If anyone were in doubt of what that meant over on the timing board. Top time is of course staying there or standing there. Then we have the gaps to the top car. Also Michael Thomas in a Nissan this season, which is quite interesting. And Tess Fredrickson in the Mode 11 livery. Jesus Christ, Bas is hiring drivers at the minute, it seems like. But he still haven't offered either Chris or myself for a seat in that team, so Bas, you could maybe slide something under the table for us as well, and we will get involved in that. Michael Thomas currently on pole position, definitely one of the drivers that we are looking at this season to take the crown and become the champion once again, as Michael Thomas have done so many times before. I don't know if the Nissan have been bumped to a point where it's an actual good car. We have seen other communities that it was good over the last couple of months. So maybe the Nissan is actually back now. Two Nissans topping the board at the minute, which is good to see. Or maybe Michael Thomas and Tess Fredrickson are just challenging themselves to the Nissan. It is a lovely car to drive and it does look good. Sounds somewhat reasonable, and have that mighty wang on the rear. Not as big as the old Nissan though, but a very, very lovely car. The good old T-mount on that wang. Remember to hit the like and subscribe button, and for notifications of when we go live, hit the bell as well. Nicely over the curbs. Did look like he could have taken more speed on the entry there, but still dipping a wheel on the exit, which is not optimum, but I would say that Michael Thomas knows better than me about racing lines if it came down to it. Nicely on the inside curve there, uses all of the exit curves. Sprinkling back in the Dark Sky Racing colors. Also a little bit of a throwback to, well, a long time ago, honestly. I think it's a long time since he ran the Dark Sky Racing colors. And again with the Lamborghini, lovely car to see on the track. Not selected by that many drivers for unknown reasons. I personally think it's a great car to drive, and can be very, very competitive. As Sim goes across the line there, improving up to second position. Still a long way off of Michael Thomas and that mighty Nissan in provisional pole. And yet still a long time to go here in qualifying, so we'll have to wait and see if anyone can challenge that 142.7. Martin van der Graan looks to be improving at the minute. That could jump him up a few positions. Currently set 9th, which is 8th in class, as couldn't have put himself up to 6th at the minute. Or as we're speaking, I should say, some improvements there from other drivers, as well as Martin van der Graan across the line up into 6th position. Also, I think he's I think he finished 3rd 3 or 4 seasons ago in the semi-pros. And that's why he got promoted on into the pro category. Good driver, nevertheless. Martin van der Graan, also a very lovely guy to talk to if you ever get the chance out there. Great dude. Into the pits he went. Andrew Richardson, another one of Bars's pay drivers, or Mode 11 drivers, we should say. Isn't that a reference to RAF with that shark thing in the front? Didn't they run something like that, or at least painted some of their planes like that? Chris thinks they did, and he is English after all. which is ironic when putting that livery on a German car, but hey ho, let's not get too much into that, as this would be a very long evening. Richardson back into the pits, and let's see a little bit on the drivers who haven't put lap times in yet. Jelle Sonnes of, yeah, definitely butchering that Belgium name, of the Wolf team. Not with a lap yet, but let's see. He comes across the line there. At least he got a lap on the board. Probably wasn't the cleanest of laps from him, but he still have 11 minutes to improve. Good to see a few of these drivers, and that will be interesting in the AM Championship. How people are going about. I wonder if Nart is doing the usual thing and starting from the back and trying to go back up through the field, or if he's actually setting qualifying times this season. I think that's a matter of whether or not that Nart feels like you have the time to do big slide all of the races and have time for practice and stuff like that. But good to see Nart back. Of course, Dark Sky Racing as well. The 666 McLaren he's running. And onto the start-finish line. Is he on a valid lap? If so, then he will actually put something on the board. No, he is not, and we'll probably just see him invalidate immediately. Again, just to make sure that he doesn't get that lap on. At least going very wide, that does look invalid. But we'll surely see him a lot in the races, as he have been known to do the back to first challenge. Yes, I totally didn't screw up in namings there. Parties, good driver as well. We have seen over the last couple of seasons up into 20th a pro driver. I've battled this dude myself a few times. Maybe I should get back into racing, honestly, in the GT3s, but now I'm a hypercar man. Speaking of that, we are starting an LMU season for the first time. Next week, I think, or in 2 weeks' time. That will be interesting to see as well. I don't think there are that many free spots still for that championship. It seems to be very popular, but on our Discord, of course, there's an LMU dedicated channel where you can go and whoa, Partis goes off the track there at the bus stop, crashes the car heavily into the wall. That is definitely a turn back to the garage for him before going back out there. Very quick mechanics here on the ACC, we must say. I was just about to say that looks sort of like a Brabham with that paint scheme, and Regan Mitchell also chooses the Brabham Esports name. It is funny that Brabham actually did have made a GT3 car that sort of looked like the Ferrari 488 quite a lot, with a little bit of the 269 or 296 mixed in as well. So good shout there from Regan Mitchell to do a little bit of an Easter egg and a reference to that car. Currently set in 4th position. Still just the two Nissans in the front. It would be a mighty sight to behold if we have a Nissan log out of the front row. That would definitely be a first in SSRI history if that happens. And I don't even need to check the record books for that. That is something that I think I would have remembered. Further down the field again, Rajiv Khalsi, Ferrari driver, British driver, in the AM class, currently sat 2nd in the AM. And there's another Van der Kran. Who is that? Van der Kran. Ian Van der Kran. I wonder if they're related. Probably not, but it would be funny if they were. But Mr. Khalsi across the line into 18th, takes a provisional pole in the AM class by quite a margin there, about 4/10 to the nearest AM competitor at this point, but still 7.5 minutes to go here in qualifying. He's actually up there mixing goodly with the semi-pros, where he would have been 4th if he were in that division. Schickerman in the Porsche, best placed Porsche at the minute. Not that many Porsches this season. A bit of a shame, as it is a lovely car, and a lot of people would, when they're thinking about GT3 cars, the Porsche are one of the first things that comes to mind. For me, it will always be the M6. That's the pinnacle of GT3 cars, of course, as that is just a big boy on the track. But Schickerman in the 911, that's 16th position in the pro class. Let's see if he'll improve over the course of this qualifying session. Though the lap times are not that bad, to be honest. It's just the top guys are so damn quick this season. He does get a little bit of a toe there. I wonder if that's more distracting for Schickerman than it is actually helping, as you sometimes get a little bit too focused on the car up ahead of you when you get the toe, but a lot of cars on track as well, so hard to find a good gap to run in and get a good few clean laps without disturbance. On board with the Porsche, not that close to the apex, and gets a little bit of a wiggle there on the exit. Some of that wiggle through the uphill hairpin. Keeps it nice and tight, uses that extra bit of tarmac there on the exit. And actually takes a very lovely line through there. Hard on the brakes. Gets turned in on the apex once again. Actually pretty good driving here from Schickerman. You would expect that, of course. Through the tricky left hand, as you can probably tell down the onboards, that it doesn't look as sharp as it is when you get into the corner, but then it just sharpens at the end when driving, even though technically it actually doesn't sharpens up at the end. There you can see how that rear end is very loose, and the front turns in along, that understeers a little bit out before hooking back up when he turns this Porsche in. No improvement that time around from Schickerman. Franz van der Linden, also very lovely delivery on that car, I must say. The Sim Racing Holland team have done a beautiful job with this, I would say, classic as well. We have seen this Sim Racing Holland car a lot over the last couple of seasons, driven by the Sim Racing Holland team, of course. Always seems to be running the McLarens, these guys. I love the detail when you have the country flag on the like end plate of the rear wing. That looks beautiful, and something that is a big plus in my book when it comes to livery designing. It's a big thumbs up there for the guys of Sim Racing Holland. Fran's also a seasoned pro here in SSRI. We have seen him a lot over the years. One of the 3 Van der Lindens that we know of in the community. There's Franz, there's Peter, there's Iron, which can get a little bit confusing from time to time. Speaking of Iron Van der Linden of the THRC team, also good custom livery. I don't think it's equally nice to the other ones. Also, his teammate just hit off him. Maybe they've been trying some slipstreaming tactics as Iron goes flying past. I think that's a Suzuka in the 73. It must be, as that would be the number that he usually runs and the team that he usually runs with. But still good livery. Nevertheless, it does look very realistic and very good, and that's also a big thumbs up for me. Custom numbers on the side of the car as well. Not that many people knows how to do these. Let's cross our fingers for the THRC team that they will perform well this season. We've at least seen that there are 2 THRC drivers in BMWs, and I would assume the rest of that team are also digging into that car so they could learn to understand it together. Dave Hedges returns to Sim Racing. I like the team name Rusty. Proclaiming himself to be a little bit rusty. Let's see. He used to be pretty decent, I seem to remember. One of the very, very, very quick guys, and of course a long-time admin and co-founder of the community, I believe. Who's back into to the rig, which is good to see. Of course, sometimes lives gets in the way of racing, but not this season for Dave. Yeah, that slow car flag, that was definitely waved at Dave. Just the track marshals telling him to speed up a bit. Or maybe saying, just waving hello to him and welcome back. Nevertheless, this semi-pro was silver, as I have just learned that they are being called this season. Who would have guessed? Driver, he is long way down. Michael DeGore. I remember the season where he was in the what they called rookies that season. I do believe they were, where we had the last lap incident there at Indianapolis, where everything changed for the lead of the championship, which was very, very dramatic and one of my favorite moments of the of broadcasting. That's some of that drama that you just cannot predict. Of course, it's not that nice for the drivers who get taken out in those situations or get involved in the incidents, but what a dramatic finish to a championship. And we were just focusing on it there nearing the end, that all he needs to was just keep going and pray to the racing gods that something would happen to the other guy, and unfortunately it did. But yeah, good to see also in the Lexus. I'm a big fan of the Lexus, as a lot of people knows. I dig that car a lot. Very, very fun car to drive. Suits my driving style as well. Very loose car and tricky to control time to time. Decent acceleration, decent top speed, not that good under braking. It used to be a beast in the wet as well. That have been changed quite a bit, I must say, with the car's handling and boosts. Again, speaking of special cars, Michael Thomas still on provisional pole with 40 seconds to go to start the qualifying laps. The people that are in the pits at the minute, they will not have enough time to go back out and start a flying lap. Michael Thomas, though, will finish this one and start another. Still at it, though, we have just over half a second to Fredriksson in P2. That is a gap and a half, I must say. Across the line and starting his final lap of qualifying. Oh, that's a big train of car that doesn't make it across to start their lap. Oh, all the cars that we just saw come across the line, all the blue ones, not in time. Few drivers still finishing their laps out there. All the great dots from, I would say, the 65 car will be the last to finish lap as Michael Thomas bails out. And by the way, those are yellow barriers that you see behind the the Pirelli sponsors, they are very solid, so if you get spun out there and hit them sideways, your car will get very, very wrecked. I speak of experience. Unfortunately. Regan Mitchell in 4th, best placed car out there, still on a flying lap. With only one corner to go, though 8/10 of a second to take pole. That might be a bit of a stretch, and Andy King up there as well in 5th. He have improved a lot over the last couple of seasons, as both Winning and Mitchell's there, improving their lap times up to 3rd and 4th respectively. Andy King dropped to 6th, but still with a chance to improve, and Andy, he is a very good driver there, but bails out at the end, not quick enough. Just tries for the pit lane entry. Practicing that is a good idea, as it can just creep in on you that where you have to hit the pit limiter. Wouter Blitzmer across the line. Fun livery on that car as well. The 669 car. 10 seconds maximum to go of qualifying. And yeah, well, that we are basically done with it, or well, we are done with qualifying. And great qualifying session, first time out this season. Well, except for the battle for pole, that wasn't too exciting. But again, when Michael Thomas shows up, he most of the time knows that he will be rather dominant, we should say. What is all these things? Just have to sign into some stuff here to get some sort of telemetry that I forgot before the race. Ah, perfect. Now I can at least have an idea of that upgrade. Okay, going to do that. But at least some sort of telemetry is now available for me, which is lovely. So, questions out there in YouTube, this would be a perfect time to do so. Usually I'll go for a small break before we start the actual racing and the actual on-track action, which I believe I have just enough time to do so still at this moment. So I'll do that, and we'll be right back after these non-existing commercials. Unless if Chris have something to throw over, which I don't think he have, but we'll be right back after this silence. And we are back with the live feed of the track, with the two big Nissans in the front of the field, almost blocking out the vision of all the cars behind. These two mighty pieces of machinery. Lights on, and in a few seconds we will start rolling off the grid, which will be very lovely to see the first time this season. Full formation lap, of course, so the drivers have time to set up their pit stop strategies and get everything nicely sorted. I wonder why we're not rolling yet. We should be rolling at this point. There we go. Michael Thomas goes out first driver to get moving in a racing session this season. Big grid of cars, which will be interesting to see how they will get around lap 1. We know turn 1 and the bus stop are big impact points at Watkins Glen. We have seen the incidents happening up here through turns 2, 3 and 4, the kinks that we are slowly moving through as we are speaking. You can go side by side there, but 3 wide, that might cause some issues, as one driver will have to lift at some point going through here if they don't want to end up in a wall. At the back of the field have just started rolling over the start-finish line as we're speaking. Very big grid. I think we're in for an evening of a lot of entertainment, a lot of good on-track battling, and maybe a dominant performance. Let's see if Michael Thomas can keep up that qualifying pace in the race. The Nissan definitely seems strong for him. A front engine specialist, some would say. But also Andy King is coming off of a little bit of a high, starting in 6th position after PS UK. They won our 24-hour endurance race last time we went racing here on the YouTube channel. Of course, we have had some minor championship runnings here over the winter as well. Like the, I think, first day, I said moved to Tuesday, the multi-class GT3, GT4 racing series, which definitely was fun for everyone involved in that. There was the big grid event, of course, as well, that we have just recently hosted. And here we are, league racing once again. The championship starts five rounds this season and a 1 drop result, I do believe, which makes this this very interesting. You have to score well in 4 races, and your worst result that will be crossed off your point scoring list. So theoretically we are coming out round 1 with no one having points, but of course that is not the case, as a lot of these drivers will be taking the points from race 1 with them throughout this season. Thomas Fredriksson and Regan Mitchell, the top 3 in the pro class. The semi-pros, that is a long name. Mac Butchon takes pole in that with Kunt behind him, and DeGauray in 3rd in the semi-pros or silver class. Kelsey took the infamous pole in the AM class, and now for some reason I can't see the rest of the grid, but we'll get into those drivers later on in the race as well. Lining up side by side for the first time this season. Of course, an ACC ghosting is on the formation lap. That will not be the case when we go LMU racing in a few weeks' time, which will be very interesting to see how the first race pans out there. I'm personally very excited for that, as we are cresting the final corner, and the nerves will start kicking in for these guys. Have to get that out of the system at this point. Focus on the race. Focus on the lights. Imagining all the different scenarios that could happen into turn 1, making everything as easy for yourself as humanly possible. As for the first time this season, we are shortly about to be racing! Good start from the two Nissan. Seems like the Ferrari did a usual Ferrari start, not getting too good off the line there from Regan Mitchell. Drops a position, it looks like, to Chris winning, and the two Nissans have just flown off in the front. No yellows so far in turn 1. Good to see. Okay, and I said that just a second too early, as the yellows just Jesus Christ. Pops off. That is not very very good to see. That looks like half of the field sort of in a car park. Yeah. We can see that's Oulton, Vard, that's Nick Vargas in the Mode 11 car as well, involved in that. Van der Linden as well, Emelis, Ivan van der Graan, France Van der Linden, Conway, lots and lots of drivers there, and that's the SRH car, the 65 for Van der Linden. They're retiring from the race already. But in the front of the field, they got away cleanly. That's something to look at least. Michael Thomas gets off, chased by Fredriksson in second, winning in third, Spinkeling up into fourth already, and Kund in fifth. The best contact with the wall already. Too many of those, and the cars will get very tricky to drive. That is unfortunate. Kund leading the semi-pros, dropping to sixth there as Crofer overtakes. Hedges in second in the semi-pros. Just a short side notice. Good job from Dave from that. De Bruyne leads the AIMS with Sones behind and Osturo in third in that class. The top view into the bus stop. A lot of people taking their pit stop early to repair damage after that lap 1 incident. Those cars could be in risk of getting blue flags later on in the race. Even earlier on if they have too much damage, of course. That is a bummer for a lot of people, and a lot of gaps have formed already, as we see some side by side there coming into the bus stop. From this great top-down view, that's a drone that Chris have sent up personally and placed up here for this great shot. Front of the field, still less than a second between them, just over half a second between the two Nissans. And do remember, they are not on the same team, so there'll be no team orders between these guys if it comes down to it. Just having a look through the field and some action for about 18th. Looks like they're running somewhat loose, and same a little bit further up the field. There was some sideways moment there from the Aston Martin behind us. Is that a Porsche? I think it's actually a Porsche. They don't know that was an Aston Martin. That was Carl van Horn of the Astro team. Archie Bargy behind Regan Mitchell is have had a terrible start to this race. Maybe he was the one kicking off everything in that turn 1 instant, as Regan Mitchell will have a lot of work for him to catch up to the front of the field behind Carl van Horn at the minute coming to turn 1. Pulling out, trying the move that he might have falling in behind after all. Opting not to, just going full send into turn 1. Probably the best decision there to make. But he did lose a good few meters there, trying it at least, showing it, getting a terrible line into the corner. Coming into the bus stop, Nart Cox in 15th position in the 666 McLaren, right behind Cohen Geens in the FedEx car. That was a short race from France. It definitely was even a short championship. I will draw that. Seems like maybe a terrible idea if we have the drop result as well. Anything could still happen. But the racing still goes on. Up here with a big line of cars. Honestly, it seems to be from Iron van Linden all the way down to at least Sones, we would say, are within this group, including the 3 leaders of the AM category, who are closely packed here. But that's the thing, when you're so closely packed, maybe making the move is not always the best decision, as if something happens, you could lose a lot of time. And getting the move done wrongly or incorrectly, then you could potentially lose the position. As we have the people come out of the pits, they will get blue flags quite early on, as the leaders are coming up there. I think Martin van der Gane is one of the drivers all the way back there who will be lapped shortly. But Cox still not finding his way through. Having been stuck behind Geens for a little bit at this point, as we see a move further up the field. I think that's maybe Blitzmer and Iron van der Linden trying it at least, but not succeeding. And that's the thing, when you don't succeed, then you put yourself in a horrible position, getting a bad run out there. Maybe Geens could potentially catch up quite a bit coming into the bus stop section. With Nart Cox as well applying a lot of pressure behind, he could potentially launch it into the bus stop. He does look to be trying for it, but backs out at the last second. Geens also running a very nicely defensive line there. Worked out perfectly for him. Ooh, BMW running right there. Causing a little bit of a back up behind. That was Iron van der Linden, who went out there making contact with the wall even, but got it back going in rather quickly. Being chased by the three McLarens. Fine, and that allows for Bruin to actually catch a little bit up there, and as Cohen Geens seems to just be moving out of the way there for Cox. If he didn't get a wheel onto the grass and had a little bit of a slide, maybe that could also have been the case. But nevertheless, Nart Cox up into 14th position now. Still quite a long way up to the top for him. As the next guy he'll have to pass will be Blitzman, the 669 McLaren, who does have the advantage of slipstream from a BMW that usually goes a little bit quicker in a straight line, but with that aero damage that Van der Linden have picked up, not necessarily something that will help him too much, as Nart is also close enough to Blitzman to take advantage of the double slipstream that he's sort of getting up there. But Blitzman at least looking very racy with Van der Linden. He does look like he might try something into the bus stop, but does he have the straight line speed? Doesn't look like it. He seemed to be having the run out of turn 1, but that BMW just seemed to pull away ever so slightly from him there. That could become an issue later on. Maybe Blitzman is running a lot of aero on that car. It definitely looks very racy there, but that's the thing. Now he went a little bit wide, opening up the door there for Nart, who seems to be going through, as I think there's a little bit of a lag going on my screen. A lot of lag, honestly. Damn Discord. It's only Discord that's lagging. Oh no, I'm missing the race. And now I'm way back after getting a brief brief voiceover from Chris in my ear of what was going on the track. Very, very specific on what was happening, I must say. As Nart have gone on to having succeeded with the move on Blitzman. Now he's trying it on Van der Linden. Coming down the start-finish straight. On the inside turn 1, he will have this one secured at this point. Of course, Van Linden could try the switchback, but doesn't get it right. Then Van Linden seems to be probably losing another position here to Blitzman, the McLaren, after getting a bad run out there of turn 1. And that's the thing, once you get overtaken, then you are vulnerable again for another position loss. Bound to Blitzman does have the inside line into the bus stop. Not always the best though, but he does manage to pull it through, and Van Linden just pulls out at the right time. But look at that, now Cohen Geens is immediately onto the attack there. Van Linden have become a sitting duck at this point. But no, he kept the Geens behind initially. The 33 have gone off the track out of the bus stop. Have started moving ever so slightly again. But up here still very close. Further down the field looks like that Travers and Brookland are close as well for 23rd. Very close indeed they are here on track. Travers have gone through in the Bentley with Brockton right behind, and that's an SRH car there that made a little bit of a push. Could be, I think he might be a lap down that SRH car we just saw getting through there with the Audi livery. The McLaren behind, that's Peter Vanya in the 34 car, who's unlapping himself, trying to get back into the race. He will need a bit of luck to get a reasonable points haul out of this this event. Of course, he is allowed to unlap himself in the races. Also, something we didn't mention earlier on in the qualifying or earlier in the race, the lone Bentley. I honestly didn't pay attention and saw the Bentley on track, but we do have the one Bentley there, Team Parker Racing. Patrick Travers, of course, also a driver that we have seen in some fun cars over the years. Patrick Travers, that is. In the Bentley, I think Nick Vargas have crashed in turn 1 and have just returned to garage. Unfortunate for him, looks like that Travers might just concede this one and let Veneer go. As he did. Ooh, and Sunday serving a drive-through penalty and coming out with stop-go 30. Not what you want to happen when you are in what could be a tight championship battle there for the aim honors. But Osturo as well with the stop-go 30 down there, so they might have a race against each other for best placed car with a stop-go 30. Vargas actually haven't retired yet. He just returned to garage and he's sat there still at the minute. Just having a look. Ambrosio close to Ivan van der Gran for 27th. I can see on the track, and something's also happening up near Richardson with Tang behind. Boyne under pressure from Igor Bauer as well. I think that would be for 20th-ish. That was the Richardson one of Tang, but I think that Richardson have pulled away from Tang. Here we have Nigebauer that was close as well before with another drive, but there's a battle for the lead of the AMs in 22nd and 21st. De Bruyne currently leading that with Kelsey right behind. Here we have the two drivers in frame. Also both cars with numbers selected in the 40 range. Fun to see both in Ferraris. A little bit of a bad line there from Max De Bruyne. De Bruyne, I think it might be pronounced. And that will be butchered many times. Kelsey trying to move over to catch the every bit of slipstream he can. They both look very racy, and they will be battling this out for at least race 1, and getting points on the boards early are very important. And as I believe we might get a visit in the commentary booth from Mr. Frank Hopper very shortly for the last 45 minutes of racing here on the Watkins Glen. De Bruyne just keeping to himself, and Kelsey doing everything he can to show De Bruyne that he is still there. And De Bruyne can't relax for a second as Kelsey will be there to try it at any opportunity he gets. Both in Ferraris, and like that he gets the move done through the final corner. Just a tiny mistake there from De Bruyne, and then Kelsey goes through. Now Max De Bruyne just needs to stay with Kelsey and maybe have an opportunity to strike back. Time will tell, of course, but Kelsey did look to get some good runs out of those two corners and have started to get a move on. As we see the SRH car there coming through the field, unlapping himself. Having to be very careful about this. as contact would be very not so nice in situations like this, and very much welcome. Slightly late, Mr. Frank Hopp in the commentary booth, but nevertheless.
Yeah, I know. Sorry about that. Well,
better late than never, as they
yes.
say. You have missed out on some action, I must say.
Yeah, I saw some comments already, so I think there was a crash at the start.
Let's just call it that. I think that's more than describes it. 22nd car also causing a little bit of a yellow flag situation there at the bus stop. It's actually not called the bus stop, is it, that corner? I think it's called the International Horseshoe or something like that. It's International Loop, maybe. It was Tom Ferris that caused some yellows there. I think this might be the third season that we actually see Tom Ferris competing with us. It's at least a name that I seem to remember quite well. At the Slipstream Motorsports team. I think he was in that season as well, where we had the rookie class in Tier 2. And he competed there in the in that one. Further up the field, we are looking at the battle here for 9th position with Hedges, Kund and Parties. It must be... Oh no, sorry, it's for 10th. It's Kund, Parties and Cox, of course. As Nart Cox have gained quite a few positions, we must say, after starting from the back. Getting through that turn 1 kerfuffle quite nicely for him and staying out of trouble. Trying it on the outside, that's a little bit of a cheeky move there. But seems to be actually succeeding, as he'll have the inside for the uphill hairpin of the toe. And look at that. What do you call that, Frank?
That's just amazing racing, but also the track really lends itself to it, right? There's some really nice flowing corners, so it's. I always think this is one of the nicest tracks actually to drive on.
Oh, most definitely. I was saying a little bit of something in those lines just before the race started or during qualifying, that this is one of my personal favorite tracks to not just the practice but also race at as well.
Yeah, same for me.
That's
awesome. Yeah. There are a few corners that I think are sort of tricky, so I think it's one of the ladder corners, so that's just after heel, I think it is.
Yeah,
it's corner 9.
Yeah, the third last corner, that always tricks me out about how sharp the action is when you get in there.
Yeah, but also you really lose the back end quite a bit, because I think there's sort of a little rise, and then you just lose the back end once you start turning in, because the back end comes loose. And you lose all braking and everything, and traction is gone. So
yeah, and with no room on the exit for mistakes, with that barrier just creeping in on you, as Regan Mitchell also seems to be climbing back through the field. 15th position at the minute, with Cohen Geens in the FedEx car directly ahead of him. But not this time around for Regan Mitchell, not this time. Would have been a little bit risky going for that move. Even if you're side by side coming into that corner, it's still so risky. Someone will have to bail out if it have to go well. Otherwise, it will end in tears.
Yeah, but also in the chicane, you can, if you just keep on the pressure, there will be a point where the person in front of you will probably make a mistake. So.
Oh, very, very likely. As Dave Hedges have returned to racing, and he's applying the pressure on Bas van Mellis. Dave actually showing the pace in the race that we used to see from him many seasons ago. I don't think that he have competed since season 2 of the Sprint Championship or something like that. It's been quite a while for Dave. Last time I saw him on track, I was in a Porsche myself, and that is not the current generation of Porsche that we're talking about there. The second, just the whatever Porsche. What Chris was saying is a little bit distracting having fantasy friends in the head for these races.
And we thought you were used to that. That's funny.
Oh, I never get used to that. But yeah, good to see Dave back there battling for 8th. Also good result for Bas if he can keep a top 10 in this race. Bas is a driver that have improved a lot over the last couple of seasons. He used to be a lot quicker than me, then we got somewhat equally paced, and for quite a while now he's definitely quicker than me again. But it must be the new equipment that Bas got. That's the only reason.
It's always the equipment, right?
If I had that equipment, I would be at least 10 seconds quicker than Michael Thomas. Guaranteed.
Well, I can try it out hopefully soon. So let's see. Let's see if I'm actually quicker. I'll provide some feedback and get back to you on that.
I reckon it takes a lot of getting used to driving in a motion rig like Barce's. If you're
Really
member
weird.
of our Discord community, he posts a lot of good pictures of it at the Show Us Your Rig section, and for the charity auction, he auctioned that you could come out and try driving in his rig at his place for 45 minutes, something like that. So quite the offer there for those who won those auctions. They will have a blast of time.
It was a nice overtake by Tom, I think.
Yeah, it looked like it. It very much looked like it, though. It's Van der Kran that's behind Tom, and that's not the car we see directly behind him. That could have been a blue flag. Or something like that as... no, that is the car behind. That is Steve Parker that's right behind him. I just thought it was Van der Kran that was behind, but that's of course Van der Kran was involved in that incident early on and are 17 seconds behind. Maybe these guys were as well. Nevertheless, that was... Mr. Parker and Tish Fredrickson currently in second, lapping these guys as we are speaking. Yeah, and the Nissan lockout on the front row, Frank. The Nissan is back.
Yeah, I've never driven it, to be honest, because it's I like the kind of twitchier cars, I guess, and more the middle engine or rear engine, and not the boat types.
I haven't driven the Nissan since the second season I was competing in SSRI way back when. Oh, that's a car that went a little bit sideways there.
Yeah.
That's quite a while ago, I must say. That's a day and a half.
I think my second to last championship was the BMW, but I didn't really like it.
Oh, Parker, the Drift King is back, but didn't hold it this time.
Yeah.
Collecting a driver behind the rest of them, doing a good job there of avoiding.
Well, he warned us on Discord.
Of course, Steve Parker used to be the Drift King. No, that's a lot of seasons ago now. I think that was actually the first race that I did a commentary on, so that's also a moon or two ago, where Steve Parker drifted through the corner at the end of the back straight at Paul Ricard every single lap. Those tires must have been dead by the end of that race, but what a spectacle it was to see.
Didn't he do the drifting as well in Brands Hatch or something? And was it in the Mercedes?
It was definitely in the Mercedes at Paul Ricard,
Yeah.
I think, at Brands Hatch as well, maybe. But I was actually racing that race because I was on the reserve list and somehow got swapped into that race for unknown reasons. So I can't remember that exactly. I don't think I saw him that much on track.
Yeah, I think I've raced with him quite a bit, so he was more in my league.
Probably. Now you're saying it as it's slow, but it's definitely not.
Well, that sort of depends on how you look at it. Compared to the quick guys, I'm slow. So
compared to Michael Thomas, we are all slow.
Yeah, true.
Nothing wrong with that.
So Terje should now be incredibly quick, right? Because didn't he win the what was it, the training session with Thomas and Michael, and did he already have it, or?
Maybe that's why he selected the Nissan in second position at the minute. Some might say that could be a reason. I don't know if he already had it though, but also Tish's development through the years have been good. The first time I saw Tish Fredrickson was in a different community where we were quite equally paced and was, I think, battling for one or two races. But then after that he just blew off into the distance and was way quicker than me ever since. So now I would not even dream of comparing myself to him.
He's gotten incredibly quick, yeah. Oh, that's good fun, right? If you see the people develop over the years as well, that I really enjoy seeing that. So.
Except when you reach your own peak yourself.
Oh.
Although now we are hypercar specialists, so different story.
I celebrate my mediocrity, so that's nice.
Exactly, you should drive an Opel. Speaking of Opels, these guys are not Opels, but Mr. Kuhn seems to have been just overtaken by Nard Cox.
No, didn't do
No,
lost
that's
the
not Nard
first
Cox.
challenge.
That's not Nard and Kuhn. That's Nard and Partis that we are looking at here. And yes, Nard have done the back road challenge once again, as usually we should say. It's not Partis. No, that's a Lexus behind. I thought it was some close racing. That's actually a Lexus behind. One of the two Lexi we have this season, and I believe it's called Lexi and not Lexuses. What do you think, Frank? Lexuses or Lexi?
Yeah, well, it's probably Lexuses or something. Although Lexi just makes it easier to pronounce.
It sounds more fancy at least. But we are not native speakers of that funny language, so we will never know. We will never know.
If you have two cities of Paris, you have Parises.
Yes, no, then just have Parises. Then it's Parises. Danny McCutcheon, speaking of Parises, is the Lexus driver behind Kuhn. We have just learned. Ooh, Dave Hedges with the drive-through. Maybe he didn't practice that. He had a great race up until this point, but drive-through there for Mr. Dave Hedges in the 88 Ferrari.
Probably speeding in the pit lane, perhaps, or did he do a pit stop?
Very likely he have just done his pit stop. Yes, we have reached the time where the pit stop strategy should open up for possibilities for trying the undercut at least. We did see earlier on in this race two other drivers also getting drive-throughs for speeding in the pits and then immediately coming in and getting stop-go 30s.
Yeah,
I guess then they learned their lesson.
The pit entry is also quite tricky, I think. You really need to try this one a few times to get it if you want to save some time. You need to practice just the entry.
Who's Alan Partridge? No one stop speaking to us, Chris, like everyone else can hear you. We sound mentally insane when we're just talking to our fantasy friends. Chris is asking if we have heard of another actor.
Steve Coogan.
Yes,
does anybody?
That's the question.
And then we have Alan Partridge. I thought Alan Partridge, wasn't he a guy from a band or something?
Stop having a conversation with your fantasy friend, goddammit. Nevertheless, Alan Partridge was correct. Alex is saying it is Lexi. So, end of discussion. It is Lexi when there are multiples of the Lexuses. And I just said that just to say it one final time. Sim Spenkling in the Dark Sky Racing Lamborghini have caught up to Chris Winning in the battle for third position as we are reaching the pit stop windows, and in just about a minute's time it's the optimum assumed pit stop strategy to box there. But again, a lot of traffic out there on track this time around with the big lap 1 crash. So whether or not that they have fuel to stretch it will be interesting to see, because that could possibly be a good choice, as you would like to stay out of traffic if you have a lot of clean air ahead of you. But Spenkling getting closer and closer through these twisty parts of the track to Chris Winning. We know the Lambo is good in the twistier parts of the track if you know how to drive the car. Also reasonable in a straight line, not as good as the BMW though, as they're coming through the penultimate corner this time around. Let's see if any of these drivers goes into the pits, as we are at the point that two Nissans have gone into the pits from first and second, Michael Thomas and Tesh Fredriksson. So this will actually be provisional, well, actually for the lead of the race now. Probably not after the pit stop window, but these two drivers are now battling it out for current lead of the race. Sim Spenkling and Chris Winning, that is. We haven't spoken about fastest lap so far in the race. That's currently held by Michael Thomas, indicated by the purple box around him up in the timing board. Regan has made an incredible comeback. I agree with that. Christopher Pinchbeck, Mitchell Regan there have done a crazy good comeback in this race. and have recovered nicely, though he is still yet to pit, but currently set in 6th position that I've recently learned that you have to say it like that from a YouTuber. So a good drive from him. Still behind Kund though, but he could potentially catch up. But big gap from Kund and further up the field, and that could be the limit for Regan in this race. Depending on how they are in comparison to the people who have already stopped.
I do wonder a bit about the pit strategy by Sam, because he's been known to sort of do these last lap pit stops, right? For a really short pit stop.
But that will usually be in the 75-minute races where you don't have to take the tires and can take fuel only. Which is the thing about these races, you could risk it going deep on your tires, but you'll still have to do that long pit stop, and then you have just lost time when on track. As we see Winning there going into the pits. At least we almost saw the incident that was talked about drivers briefing, that you don't have to obey the pit entry line, but I actually don't think that Winning was there, not to throw anyone under the bus, but a few drivers didn't show up for the briefing. But not something that he had to do, but still chose to do so, which was lovely to see. Maybe caused a little bit of confusion for Sim, who is now leading the race, at least on track. Further down the field, Mr. Andy King here, and that would be AM leader De Bruyne. I think that he is close with, but I just made a pass there and have gone flying. Second place in AM De Bruyne would be. But both De Bruyne and Kelsey are yet to pit, the two AM drivers that are likely to be first and second in that class after the pit stops as well. So they will be duking it out, but a good gap between them. We saw the overtake from Kelsey earlier on in the race. We did see Kelsey driving a lot more stable on the track. Did look like De Bruyne have a much looser setup on that Ferrari that Kelsey have, at least for this round. Maybe that's something to think about for the next one for De Bruyne. As Kelsey comes into the pits. It looked like that he was going a little bit fast there for a while, but that could have just been the camera acting out strangely. Tess Fredriksson having to make a move here on Cohen Geens, that will be.
Yeah.
That he goes by in the wonderful DDS FedEx looking car. I wish that my packages got delivered in a McLaren.
I'm surprised by the low amount of McLarens that are there, to be honest, because I think for the last season for the Tier 2 there were just a lot of McLarens.
Oh yeah, Tier 2 seemed to be a McLaren party for a lot of seasons. Sim sprinkling into the pits as well. I actually had some of my best racing seasons all time in all sorts of different communities, especially in SSRI in the McLaren. With both a class win the semi-pros and 2 top 10s overall. One of them, I think, 5th, I think, at Brands Hatch I did once, at least close to that. I seem to remember something like that, mixed condition racing. The McLaren is a wonderful car when you get to know it. I know a lot of people, when they get into the McLaren the first time, they feel it's a strange car to drive because you are set so far forwards in the car. That feels somewhat weird when on track, but I think it's a lovely car to drive at least. And yes, I am surprised that we don't see more of them in at least the lower divisions. But again, there are about 20 more cars than you see on the timing boards there on the side of the screen at the minute, Frank. So maybe there are a few McLarens hiding in the back of the field.
Not that much.
Split screen now with Winning in the top left and Sim in the bottom right. As they have both come out of the pits and and Chris Ford would be more exciting as the Sim are quite a bit behind it. Chris Winning seems like Sim might have had some sort of troubles in the pit stops there, of lost time on his in-lap. Yeah, interesting that Kund haven't stopped yet. He's going for the glory of leading the race. There have been, I can't remember who it was, but there was a driver in, I think that was Split 2 as well, who used to run really deep into the races just to be in the lead of the races. I talked a bit about him, and he just thought it was funny that he was leading the races. And could claim that he had been leading league racing races, so that might be
It's good on the stats, right? So how many laps have you led the races? So.
exactly. Statistically speaking, I've been leading more percentage of these races than you. Okay, good for you. Nevertheless, Kunt is taking his sweet time for this pit stop. I wonder if he's fully aware that he has to stop for tires because, or well, maybe he's just doing the strategy of running deep and having everyone move out of his way for blue flags. That could be the thing as well. Hedges have served his drive-through and he have just made the pass on Patrick Travers, the lone Bentley behind. Also, we have the two Lexi. We did talk about the Lexi earlier, didn't we? The Lexi.
Yeah, the Lexi or Lexuses.
Something like that. But yet it's always McCall. Maybe the other Lexus have... No, the other Lexus is the Gore further down. I was just thinking maybe one of them had retired, but definitely not. They're both still running.
Still going strong.
As McCorvin have just been lapped there by... that's Michael Thomas and the Nissan ahead of him. AM cars coming into the pits, having a look. I think Hedges might be actually one of the drivers in the closest battle at the minute, but Ambrosio, we haven't seen that much in this race, so let's just have a little bit of a look at him. You have Ian van der Gaan behind him and Ian van Linden directly ahead of him for position. Just under 3 seconds up to van der Linden there, but you know how the Porsche is. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not very track dependent. Regan Mitchell's now on Bas van Melis. Two reasonably good liveries. The classic of the Mode 11 at this point have become... It's a DMA livery, by the way, and I know that they are very willing to make good liveries for a little bit of cash. DMA, very good liveries and very good service there, as we saw Regan Mitchell making the move.
He's on a mission. He's really quick.
Although comeback mission.
Yeah, seems to have quite a bit of damage though, so that he's still driving this quick is excellent.
I think he got caught in the turn 1 accident. Then sometimes we don't see them repair the damage in the pits, or visually they don't get their damage repaired, but it is still repaired. That might be why it looks so bad.
Okay.
But he must be on old tires. I think he boxed after the lap 1 crash as well, so that must be some old tires on that Ferrari Brabham-ish car. But still quicker than fast on fresh, so...
Yeah, but tires will last an hour, right? So if you're driving cleanly...
But, they will still be better early on in the stint. But again, as you might have noticed as well, Frank, with... it's a long time since they got the new tire model in, but after they changed it the last time, you could have the tires being very good, then they would drop, and then they would sort of come back to you nearing the end of the stints.
Yeah.
That might be the thing that's happening. This is Andrew Richardson and Cohen Geens. It seems like every time we see that, FedEx card gets overtaken. Richardson, I think it's the... no, there is Tom Ferris and Mercedes as well. Not that many Mercedes on the track, but not this time around for Andrew Richardson, as he couldn't get the move done into the bus stop or international loop or whatever they choose to call this corner in America. In Europe, you definitely just call it a bus stop. We need the what livery car, is my fancy friend saying? The THL livery car, yes. DHL livery car, yes. Oh yes, that would be lovely. Didn't we have that at some point, actually? Someone doing some NASCAR references? Maybe we never had. I was the shell car, of course. But Richardson this time, he tries it once again, but not close enough. Coming up to the corner that Frank and I were speaking about earlier, that tricks the eyes a little bit about how sharp it is and how easy it is to lose the car. The exit with the walls being right there. Not a lot of room for mistakes. Hola, Mr. Dominic Geese. I can't say hello to you our usual friendly way as we do in the team because we're on camera. Also, I missed the handball World Cup opener, Dominic, and we are playing ourselves Denmark, so what a shame. Maybe you could give me the results just to sneak them in under the table. Even played at the, I was just about to say the nearest major handball stadium to me, but that is actually not the case. There's quite a few that's even closer that have a reasonable reasonable size. How everyone is, Dominic, everyone is very fine. I'm not just speaking on behalf of myself, but that is what people are claiming at least. Well, except for the drivers involved in that big ass lap 1 crash. Obviously. But Richardson seems to not being able to find his way around Geens. We know the Mercedes will definitely have the straight line advantage over that McLaren. But doesn't seem to be easy for Andrew to get this done. Knowing Andrew, he is a very patient and very cautious driver as well. So he might just be waiting his time, waiting for Geens to make a little bit of a mistake and then striking after that. But time will tell, of course. And not a lot of it, 18 minutes to go. And if Richardson wants to catch up to drivers further up the road as well, then he needs to get this done shortly. Though 15th overall will be a respectable result for any driver, to be honest, in this championship, as the racing is so close in lap times. If you take Michael Thomas out of the equation, of course.
And in this case, Terje perhaps as well. Oh, and I think Watkins already he lost the lead already, so and he still has pit stop to do, I think.
Yeah.
So
that looks like it, but Richardson on the move. Moving a little bit out the toe there just to get himself a little bit of extra tarmac to run on. Mistake many people make is you have to turn the car a little bit more when you're up there, but into the no, once again he is not close enough to get this move done. Geens are doing the exactly enough, hitting the apexes and getting that run out of the corners that just keeps Andrew just at the right distance not to be able to make these moves.
Yeah, Koen is driving really well.
At the minute,
but
yes.
The car looks stable as well. Really stable. I think I've seen Andrew twitching a bit on exit, where Koen is just driving away. Yeah,
that's just a message. We did see last time here into the hill that Andrew was close enough to at least show himself. He shows himself this time again, but not close enough. A little bit of a mistake maybe from Andrew, as he's not getting the optimal lines through it. Technically losing a little bit on the exit of the corners, but he could do it just to get some more air on the car and getting some better aero under braking. But look how close he is now. But how close do you dare go through these corners? That's a big question. Being a little bit too close, and the driver ahead, he might be lifting off a little bit more than you are yourself, and then you have the big issue. But this time down the start-finish straight, surely he will have the opportunity into the braking zone. Doesn't look like it actually. I think that Andrew might be running a lot of aero on that car.
I think so as well. Yeah.
A bit surprising at Watkins Glen, or maybe Koen have are just running absolutely zero wing now on board with Andrew Richardson. This time he just tucks in, but look at it, he's not actually gaining that much even in the toe. Koen goes defensive. It's a long way around from Andrew, not far enough alongside. He will rely on on Mr. Geens to make a little bit of a mistake, and he does.
Nice.
Classic move through the bus stop section there, and Andrew Richardson takes possession. Into 15th he went. Yeah, but Mr. Geens here have had a lot of whoop. That's Stoens there, the Wolf. We saw him a little bit in qualifying as well. The 33 McLaren. There are all of your McLarens on the board, by the way. At least a few of them. Ooh, that car have damage. Oh, way too hot tires. have a little bit of room now to get out of the way, but cars are coming, doing the right thing for a moment there, staying still as they were approaching. Just get out of the way, man.
Yeah, he's got off the racing line.
Successfully done so, and he's back moving without causing anything to any other driver. So reasonable job there, getting back going. But that car will be trashed to drive. Ambrosio on the move this time on Van der Linden.
So he did. I think he did well to just brake a bit more, because it looked like he was actually going for it, and then thought better of it just before he entered the corner.
Yeah, that's often the thing when you go for moves, that you are way too overcommitted and don't leave yourself enough room to at least have the opportunity to back out if you can't actually get it done. And that seems to be very, very aware driving there. Both cars seems a bit twitchy.
Yeah, well, the tires might be getting a bit worse at the moment already.
Yeah, we are sort of within the maybe if they box at the half-hour point, then it's a little bit early for the big grading zone. So
yeah, but I thought
the grading should happen. It will be at least another. Oh well, it could start happening now if they are too aggressive on the tires.
I can't remember really if it's a hard track on the tires. To be honest, I don't really.
I would say it's sort of hard on the left tires at least, because you have the quite a good few corners where you're on maximum, where you're pushing the tires to the absolute max, and you are operating with quite a bit of speed. But I don't think it's that bad on tires. It doesn't seem to ring a bell that is horrendous on tires for me.
Oh. Because all the corners are quite flowing, so you don't really have these braking points where you need to brake and you put in too much steering input, and then just. So.
No, exactly. A little bit of a mistake there from Ambrosio. Speaking of a little bit of a mistake, now we're into Bas van Mellis under pressure once again, this time by Schickerman, who have caught up to Mr. van Mellis. Backmarker traffic ahead of them as well. But Bas and Schickerman, they will have to figure this out together.
Amazing drive, by the way, by Mr. Kunt, because he's...
Yeah, ninth, still leading...
Silver
Pros, call it what you will. at the minute. They have a very large margin down to P2 and P3 in class, so it seems like he just needs to get this... that was actually good. That's not a back marker. That's also for position. Jesus. 9th, 10th and 11th close together. Once again BMW and Porsche. This time it's Schickerman and Van Mellis. Schickerman showing himself there. Bas leaving the room.
Yeah.
Bas could have been more aggressive. A little bit of a slide there from Schickerman on the exit, but still gets it done, as Bas is a true gentleman on track. And Bas getting a little bit loose on the background. So now it's a Schickerman who will have to try and catch up to Mr. Kunt. And see if he can get that done at some point. And yet again it will be a Porsche BMW battle if he manages to catch Kunt before the end of the race, with just 11 minutes to go here of round 1 of season 8 of the SSRI Sprint Championship.
I'm quite amazed that if you look at turn 1, quite a few people are going more or less off out of the track limits there. So
yeah, but
it's quite an easy track to get some track limits as well. So
absolutely.
I'm wondering if that's gonna
both turn 1 and especially the penultimate corner, the second to last corner. That's at least where I get a ton of track limits on this track.
So that might come into play as well just before the end.
Yeah, you never know. It's not over until the fat lady thinks, or Chris turns off the cameras. This fat lady, not fat man, Chris. And now that sounded even more offensive, as there were no relation for the people out there listening. Could you say that live to the people watching? Dang. Frank, would you mind explaining to the viewers what Chris just said?
Yeah, well, he was singing.
No, the sentence later.
Yeah, it hurts. It hurts.
I think we should have Chris live on the mic next race, so people don't think that we are mentally insane.
We should be able to turn his mic on and off. That's what should happen.
Yes, I think we should have a petition to get Chris to speak. I think everyone out there wants to hear Chris's voice, as it is the gentlest voice of all in history. So
Yeah, we wonder if people stay awake, right?
yeah, and they're definitely falling asleep listening to you and me speak.
Yeah, true. Well.
Chris is saying he's not singing, not even for charity, Chris. Oh yes, you will next charity race in about 9 months' time.
You will have forgotten, but
no, we will hold this to Chris until he dies.
We will not.
No, we have a life after all. Oh well, maybe not. We are sat here on a Tuesday evening commentating on virtual racing. Speaking of virtual racing, that is actually happening on track at the minute. It is Ambrosio and Van der Linden once again.
Yeah, blowing his way back, so that's well done in a couple of laps.
Does look like that Paolo Ambrosio have a little bit of extra speed there compared to Van der Linden. Now he goes for into turn 1. Ooh. But again, not close enough. Sometimes the camera angles, they play us a trick there. Also forcing Van der Linden to go a little bit deep there as he launched up onto the inside of Mr. Van der Linden. Fair enough, I would say that he keeps the position there. I would have chosen to stay ahead as well if I was behind the wheel of the car. Backmarker Ferrari ahead of them moves out of the way for both of them. Very nicely done. Ambrosio still giving chase through the international loop or bus stop chicane. Different lines there on the exit, and we do see that quite a bit, that these are two different lines. Either you stay sort of in the middle of the track or you go all the way wide there, depending on speed and angle. Honestly, I will do different things, varying from lap to lap, so I'll be a pain in the ass to drive behind in there. Ambrosio, now he goes for it into the toe. Again, forcing Van der Linden to go a little bit deep there as he goes up onto the inside, or at least he is...
now who gets a better traction, so...
Yes, and now they're side by side again into the heel this time. Van der Linden just did, but there Ambrosio, slight contact, archie-barchie there. Ambrosio will have the move done. Nobody gets a slide on the car, so they're still side by side. Van der Linden slightly ahead, side by side through the tree corner. Will they both maintain control of the cars? I wish I was driving that Ferrari to watch this battle. Penultimate corner. Still side by side-ish as Ambrosio falls in behind, but have a little bit of extra speed there, but no overtaking moves into the final corner. At least that's difficult, but Van Linden goes very wide then very deep. Ambrosio on the inside into turn 1. This should be done and dusted.
Yeah, depends on your braking point. Who's the bravest?
Exactly, but still side by side. Van der Linden, they're very
nicely
driving there
both.
from both of them. Giving each other exactly enough room. As I think they are getting maybe blue flagged by that Ferrari coming up, or those two Ferraris coming up. One of them even Van der Gran maybe. What number on the side of that on those Ferraris?
3 or 9? And again.
Oh, and the Ferrari is off, and that destroyed our battle as well as very aware driving that Van der Linden actually to hit the brakes immediately and avoid that. Oh, that was Andy King. Yeah, very unfortunate. And Crover. That was very unfortunate. The two UK teams, Slipstream Motorsport and PS UK, Andy King and Crover there. Knowing King, that might be something that he will report after the race. We have instructed all drivers on how that works. 5 minutes to go of this race. Andrew Richardson managed to catch up to Blitzman.
I love your pronunciation, but it's officially Belsman.
I decide myself what people are called.
You know,
Where's speaking of,
where's
where the hell
Mr. Prixley?
Yeah, exactly. Where's Prixley?
We do seem to be missing the
Wild
whole
Things.
team, right?
Yeah,
Wild
although
Things.
they have only been Prixley the last couple of seasons representing. We haven't seen Denise Pope for quite a while.
Yeah, but she liked I think the GT4 is better.
Oh, yes.
And she's now fully committed to LMU, I think.
Yeah, I actually think she works on design for that game as well, visual design.
Okay.
I feel like I watched one of her streams where she mentioned something about that at some point a long time ago, almost a year ago at this point. It was just after launch of the game. So yeah. Also a quick driver that we miss a bit. One of my earliest, I wouldn't say we didn't have a rivalry as per se, but we did seem to find each other on track quite a bit in my reasonably early days of sim racing. You must have
yeah.
battles with Denise.
Same for me.
Mr. Good
I had a lot.
Very fair driver, Denise is, we must say. And that she might have been involved in a few instances over the years, but usually not at her fault. I only remember getting murdered by her once, which she apologized for immediately after the race.
I think if I look back, I probably murdered her more than she did me. So.
Oh, I also murdered Denise once or twice, and no doubt about that.
No, but I had really good fun racing her as well. She's an awesome racer, so yeah, good fun.
That can be said about many drivers, of course. With 3 minutes to go, and Mitchell's comeback seems to end at about a 7th, which is also a very strong comeback.
Yeah, it's amazing.
We must say.
From where he came.
Exactly.
So what's his fastest lap compared to the other guys? So.
Ask Chris.
So 1:44.5. So yeah, still about depending on damage, perhaps he's about a second a lap, or at least slower than Michael Thomas then, or quickest lap anyway. So there are 4 guys in the 1:43. Which is amazingly quick around here, I think.
Yep.
So that's Michael, Tay, Chris, and Sam. And then from Nard on, it's 1:44, and that's only
also speaking of Nard, I actually think this have been his best last to first challenge so far, running in 5th position in this race.
But he's had so much bad luck last 2 seasons.
Yeah, but he always started from the back. He chose for the sake of fun.
Yeah, but he's he did that, but then he got caught up in so many incidents as well.
Oh, that usually happens when you have to overtake so many cars in a race. I would say, and especially if you're coming up to people who don't know that you're doing this challenge, then they will race you as hard as humanly possible. Where if a guy like Nard came up behind me, I would not defend that for a second.
I would defend, but still spin out just before it actually got to blows anyway.
Oh yes, then we would make very sure that we would catch that on camera.
That's just me.
Even if Chris would have to say for an hour straight trying to find the replay of that, he would sit there and find the replay of that just to show you spitting out. We all know this. We all know this. Speaking of battling, last couple of laps battling here, we see De Bruyne and Brooklyn. Brooklyn have returned up into 3rd now in the AM category, and Ian van der Gran also with a good recovery there to 2nd in the AM class. But Max De Bruyne definitely still with the chance to overtake Brooklyn, as they have gone on to no, not their final. Where the hell is proper? Oh, that's going to be tight whether or not that Thomas will start another lap. I actually think he can decide himself whether or not that he stops on the line or not, but he does go
Alright, man. The leader is on the final lap.
Cross the line and starts the lap. So these guys will have this one and one more to go.
That's just
to sort it out between them. really is, but I would have done the same. Although it is a little bit stupid for Michael Thomas. What if he crashes now? What if?
But do we expect him to? No.
No, absolutely not. But I have done this in LMU. I was about to take my very first online win there. I came up in the same situation. I could have just slowed down and not started an extra lap, but I was an idiot and continued plowing on and started the final lap, and then of course ran out of fuel. Genius, freaking genius.
Fuel saving is a real thing in LMU, right?
Oh, it is. It really is. But that's part of the fun in the proper endurance racing and hypercars, and even in the GT3s you can gain a bit of advantage of fuel saving there. Or LM GT3s, we should say. They are not exactly equal to these cars, as they have a little bit less power and a little bit less aero, just to compensate for the LMP2 cars that they're running with at Le Mans. Which is a fun fact to keep in mind. But now they start their final lap, Brooklyn and De Bruyne. As we have, of course, Michael Thomas in the bottom right-hand side. Haven't seen him that much in the race, as he just decided to go out to oblivion. And the move is being made as we are speaking. Max De Bruyne on Peter Brookland. And a faster car lapping them just for good measure there in between.
Why is he Oh, I think he's out of fuel, right?
Yeah, must have ran out of fuel there, Brooklyn, as he just dropped back. No,
Oh, they're finished.
maybe he didn't cross the start-finish line in time. We just didn't get the checkered flag for some reason. A little bit of confusion there on the stream, but what a finish to the race, nevertheless.
It's how we roll, yeah.
And what a season opener this was! A truly good race. Any questions for the guys coming in for interview rooms? You can post them out in the chat. Now, and we'll ask the drivers the questions when we get in there. So first race, Frank. How for the 40 minutes you got to see live of the race?
I thought it was great, but then I kind of missed the happening at the start, of course, so that's a bit of a shame. But the racing itself, and I think also really the track lends itself to real racing. So yeah, it's so much fun. It's a track where you can or not easily overtake, but yeah, you can set up. If you have a better exit in some of the corners, you will be able to at least try and overtake, and yeah, that really seemed to work out for a couple of the overtakes that took a bit longer, right?
Yeah. Ooh, now we maybe get to see. Yeah, there's the cars crashing already in the replays.
Yeah.
Was not a pretty one, I must say. Haven't seen the replay of how it started and how it all panned out, and that for good reasons, we must say, probably, but that's how it just went. And let's have a little bit of a talk to our first guy in the interview room. You got here first, Mr. Van der Gaan.
Yeah, thank you.
So congratulations on the strong result, round one, and putting yourself in a good position for the championship.
Yeah, P2 in class, very nice. A bit weird on the first corner with everything that happened, with my PC not being able to render all the cars at once. I was kind of seeing cars randomly spawning in front of me. Got a bit of damage, but was able to spin it around, get into the pits, and finish the race after a pit stop on the first lap. So I think it was a decent result, seeing the circumstances. It's quite nice to be there in the end.
Absolutely, that must have been a terrible start to the race if you couldn't see half the cars on the crashing.
Yeah, it looked a bit funny, I can tell you that.
But with the early pit stop, your tires must have been screaming of death near the end.
Yeah, they were, especially, I noticed on the first half of the lap there's not really much slow corners into acceleration, but through the heel and the boot, it was very hard to get the car to turn in and to accelerate out of the corners. So I was most of the time even gaining time on the first half of the lap, and then on the second half I would lose all of it again. And losing nearly a second a lap on just the last half, which is a shame because I think otherwise I would have been able to maybe get up a bit higher, but it was a very good race in the end, I think.
Yeah, pace seemed pretty good for you in this race. We're heading to Suzuka next time out for the 75-minute race there, of course. Do you reckon you'll be up in the challenging positions once again for the podium?
We'll have to see. Suzuka as a big unknown for us, to be honest. We've never had a race there as a team, I think. So, yeah, we're gonna go into it with a clean slate again. Start from zero, trying to do our best and see what happens.
Well, then I will say it's about time that you have a race there.
I think so too.
We're really glad to provide it for you.
Thank you very much. I'll be glad to drive in it.
Yeah, Suzuka is a good. I think it's a fun track to get around, but again, difficult first couple of corners. We did see it. You know, it's just one car that starts getting into trouble up near the front of the field. Then it's half the field that looks to be almost wiped immediately. Of course, there's a bit of runoff at Suzuka, and people will usually wash off, but it is a risk once again when we hit there that we have say equal circumstances in turn one.
For me, the strategy might be my LFM strategy as well. Start from the pits, get through T1 cleanly, and then see what happens, because you can pick up a lot of position if positions of the same thing happens again.
Oh, definitely. It's all about playing it smart. In order to finish first you have to finish.
Exactly. Wise words.
Spoken by John Nielsen a lot, who learned them from another racing driver. So, very, very wise words from wise men. Joining us in the commentary booth as well. It is getting very tight here in our small shed. We have Mr. Kelsey. I'm not going to try and pronounce that first name.
No, it's okay. You can just call me Ranj. Yes, good fun tonight. The start was a bit difficult with the first quarter incident, and then the incidents in the middle of the pack. But I think we did all right, fighting through the pack, coming back, and managing to win. My unofficial teammate, Mr. Hedges, helped me up with a good setup, which gave me confidence in the car to push. So yeah, it was good fun.
That also helps, and we did see your overtake for the class lead live on stream, which was a beauty to behold. Your car did seem very stable when you ran the car out there, much more stable than your competitors. They seem a bit more loose. Was that all due to setup or driving skill as well?
Wow, I don't know about driving skill, but yeah, it's just feeling comfortable with the car, feeling comfortable with the inputs, and just modulating, I guess. Just making sure that you don't get on the throttle too quickly, so you loosen the back. I was running max downforce, so maybe that could be the reason why, because I guess maybe I would lose a bit of speed on the high speed sections, but it's mostly a tight and twisty circuit, so I guess the high downforce really did sort of help out, especially in the first and last sectors, I think, where you've got the double chicane. What do you call that? The boot, is it? Yeah, up there, and yeah. It just gave me confidence to get on the throttle early, brake later, and yeah, it was good fun. It was enjoyable. I thought after the first corner and all the incident and the damage taken, I thought it might be a difficult to come back, but the car was good, the setup was great, gave me a lot of confidence to push. So yeah.
You seem quick, and with the race win or class win at least here at Watkins Glen, it sets you up nicely for the championship as we head to Suzuka next time. Are you looking forward to Suzuka, or is that a Fiat track on the calendar?
That is one of the tracks. That's where is my weakness. I'm better on tracks like Brands Hatch, Misano. I'm fairly good at. I'm fairly comfortable with Watkins. But with Suzuka, it's one of those tracks that I find it too slippery. and I guess that's where you might see me not fare so well. But I guess it'll when the time comes, when the day comes, we'll find out for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. Any final words before we start tracking the last 2 drivers in who have showed up for interviews?
No, I just wish everybody luck, and hopefully we continue to have good battles, and look forward to the rest of the series.
For me, just big congratulations to you, Ranjiv. Nice race. Fun
Thank
racing
you,
against you.
brother.
Hope to see you again in Suzuka.
For sure, man, for sure. Awesome.
And from AM and a little bit further up the field, Mr. Kunt and Tess Fredrickson have joined us in our small shed. Again, it's getting very tight in here, but Kunt, how was it out there? A little bit of carnage through the race, but seemed to get through that lap 1 thing quite easily.
Before I say anything, I have to say thank you for Ruben for helping me out through the race, because I was managing my fuel not very well. Had too much fuel, and I was worrying that I might make a mistake, and I was just worrying too much about fuel, and he helped me out. He was just saying, like, put 30
Shout
in.
out, Ruben, yo!
Yeah, put 30 in and drive. Shut up and drive. Put 30 in and drive. So thank you so much, Ruben. Shout out to him. But the race, it was really awkward at the beginning. I survived at the beginning, luckily. But within the first couple of laps, I noticed that my pace was really off. But I'm not sure if that was because I was carrying 80 liters or 85, or there was just no grip. I had really no pace.
You are saying pace was off, but winning the silver classes, pace off. Maybe it was right where it's supposed to be.
Yeah, after I pitted, after my pit stop, I had the pace that I actually wanted in my first stint. I was doing 44 lows, not really lows, but just mid 44, and something was off. I'm not sure what, but I just couldn't get into my rhythm.
Yeah, well, first race of the season, there's also a little bit of a mental pressure when we start off with expectations on a driver like you to go out and perform well in these races. Or at least I try to put pressure on you from these further back rows where we can just sit with our hands behind our heads and enjoy the racing.
Yeah. Oh, well, I have to say that I'm an endurance racer, because you might have seen me in the endurance championship quite often. And I just need time to get into my rhythm. I'm not a sprint racer, so this is actually really out of my comfort zone, and I'm enjoying it so far.
Oh yes, this was Watkins Glen, of course. Again, congratulations on the win that sets you up nicely for the championship. Heading to Suzuka next time. Love track, fear track. We know it's a good track for endurance racing in general, so maybe you have a little bit of experience there, and a few tips that you would like to share out.
I do have experience, but I'm out of practice on Suzuka. It's just be aware of the track limits, I'd say. As an endurance rider, be aware of track limits at Suzuka. You can catch them really easily.
Oh, for sure. That is one of the things that especially 130R and turn 1 and 2. That's and on the Dignus, of course. Damn Dignus.
Yeah.
No less. Good race and good luck in the championship. We're also joined by second place finisher overall and second place in the pro class, Mr. Fredrickson.
Hello there.
Could also say Fredriksen, but I guess that would be a little bit too confusing to people.
You call
Good race,
me whatever you like.
Good race and the double Nissan front row lockout. Good to see the Nissan is back. The Nissan is back. God damn it, it's back.
Yeah, it felt the car felt great. So I am actually surprised with the pace it has. So was a fun one. I couldn't really keep up with Thomas after 15 minutes. It was all that took out of it. It felt like he was driving faster and faster, and I couldn't keep up anymore. So big shout out to Michael Thomas there.
To be fair, not many people in the world can keep up with Michael Thomas when
No,
he
that's
starts
right.
driving.
That's right. No one, small percentage can, and yeah, he's on another level.
He makes quick guys seem slow.
Yeah,
I think we need some sort of. He should have some sort of success ballast or restrictors in the car or something just to give everyone a fair chance.
You should try the Jaguar. I think that's the one.
Yeah, maybe we should force him into the Jag for the next race just to make it a little bit more equal. He'll
I
probably
think
still
that
win
sounds
most.
like a good handicap for him. Yeah.
Also a fun challenge. You do like the front engine cars, so and it does have a twat meter, and the car that measures how much of a twat you are when driving. So
We were wondering, Terry, because we talked about. I thought you won the sort of the lesson with Michael. Did you already take that lesson, or is it still in the works?
It still seems to be in works, but I was able to keep within 1 second of him in like 15 to 18 minutes, and then he started to pull away. So something went into my head at least. So, but I can't really say that I am there yet. But I will probably not get there, even though how hard I try, I feel. But we'll see. He's a fantastic trainer, and he has a lot of credit to take a little of the speed I have achieved in a.
So you're saying by the end of this season you will be just as quick as Michael
No,
Thomas?
no,
That's
no.
what we are hearing here, and they're
Yeah,
expecting you
that's
to take a
because
big
it's what we
results.
want to hear.
Exactly.
You want to hear it, but it's not really the fact.
That's what I heard that's going to happen. So
Okay.
and Chris, it doesn't matter what you heard. No one can hear you. So oh, but a good race, finishing second this time around. Of course, keeping up with Michael Thomas in the championship might be a big stretch for anyone if he doesn't get involved in some sort of big crashes several times. So you're putting yourself in the prime position for the real championship, the championship for P2 in the standings.
Yeah, it was a good start. I was like hoping for him to like get into like trouble with the back markers, and because he had also some off tracks, which seemed a bit like sketchy if he was like pushing to get away from me or something. So, but and after, like as I said, after 20 minutes he was gone. He was like, I can't keep up this pace for anymore. So it felt like my tires just went away. Like, but I'm really pretty happy with how things started with the season, and really looking forward to Suzuka.
Yeah, that would have been my next question. What you're feeling about going to Suzuka? It's a track. Some people love it, some people hate it. Other people, not that many people around it, but the fact is that we do have to race there. So
Yeah, I really don't have any like good feelings with it. Before it felt like it has a lot of grip. Now after I drive sometimes with the Lambo there, it felt like there was no grip there at all before the 130R. And yeah, now it's a love-hate track for me.
yeah, like for most people, I feel a little bit the same-ish.
Yeah, it's
I had a
track,
question.
Yeah,
I
sorry.
did have a question on my mind, but I can't seem to remember it now.
Sorry about
Damn you!
that.
Damn you!
Yeah, sorry about that.
So let's what do you prefer, the 75-minute races or the 60-minute races?
To be honest, I like the 60 minutes long races because I feel like I suit this strategy more than having to drive with more fuel, because I'm struggling with pace there. So I don't know why, but it's a little bit different feeling with carrying more fuel, and then I'm starting to feel like I don't have the pace that, for example, Michael Thomas and the other top guys has maybe.
So you are saying we should not put all of our money from our savings account on you winning next race?
No, I will definitely not be on the favorite list there.
Well, though, if I could find a bookmaker that would take that bet, then I think I would make a deal with Michael Thomas and the rest of the drivers and share out the winnings.
Yeah, it's better bet that.
Yes, nevertheless, I have been Oliver Anderson, Mr. One of Oliver. With me tonight have been Frank Hopp in the commentary booth coming in later. And behind the cameras, Grandpa Chris Hill, as always. Have a good evening, and till we see each other again, may the racing gods be with you all. Frank, do you want to do the exit song this season?
No, it's your song. So, and Chris won't sing it. So
Let's do it together, Frank.
no, we don't.
Oh, then we're just not doing it.